The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say the best looking guest I've ever had, ever in the history, our 900 almost episodes, best looking guest. Well, she's tied because she's been on before. My bride, Natalie, is here. Every year we do a Thanksgiving episode, and I believe I have Natalie on, A, because people freaking love Natalie, and B, because she and my son are a good deal of what I have to be thankful for. I tell you all the time, baby, I'm going to tell you in front of God and Clean Nation, everybody, I would rather be broke, sleeping under a bridge with you than rich in our beautiful homes that we're so blessed to have by myself. So that's why we have my bride, Natalie, here. If you love Natalie, like everyone does, you can find her. She is kind of runs our Instagram and our Facebook group. So we've got some team members there, but Natalie's also there. So if you want to say, hey, there, she does all the posts. So if you love them, let her know. If you hate them, be nice to my bride, but you maybe give some encouragement. I'm Mike, Clean & Co Grow at Twitter. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's where you can find us. That's where Natalie's at. Natalie, welcome back to our little show.
Well, thank you. It's always fun to do these and kind of just chit chat. I think a lot of our interactions with business are dreaming and how we can serve people better and how we can like really change some lives. And we're internally super thankful for the people that we serve and for what we get to do. But I think it's great to just share that with everybody. Like we are just, I mean, I personally feel so blessed to be able to serve the community that we do. I mean, like our people are amazing. Like they're just some of the best people that I've ever gotten to speak to at our events or online, and just the lives that they change and how dedicated they are. And I'm so incredibly thankful for what we get to do and that I get to do it with you most days.
Not that she gets to do it with most days. She's thankful most days. Some days we'll say maybe less thankful. Would that be fair?
Yes. Let's go with that one.
Beautiful. So definitely want to, for those of you like, I just want a business podcast, give me some good business stuff. I definitely want to make sure we scratch that itch by really encouraging on how important Thanksgiving is. Just so you, or we call it celebration, but Thanksgiving, great gratitude, those are all fine. When for the people we have in our program, we literally don't do any coaching. If they come in and they have a question, whatever, there's always a celebration first, then we get to the coaching. And I think people think we do it just because it's a feel good or a rah, but the reality of the situation is just about every problem that we have is going to require a different thinking to get out of it than we got into it. And I think we've all, those of us who have had emotions at some point in our life, and I'm guessing that's got to be at least half of you out there, maybe more, understand that the best problem solving comes from a place of creativity. Is that fair? I mean,
absolutely.
To the one other human I can ask and get a direct answer. Natalie says, all right, we got 100% of people with a microphone on the currently on the podcast that problem solving comes from a creative space. And I don't know why we do it because it really doesn't feel good, but that desire to like almost prove ourselves right, like this can't be solved, that's not going to work, everything sucks. Like once we get frustrated, it's almost like, and I get it when we do it with other people, right? Like, you know, our little 6-year-old, if someone of his friends got a toy, he needs that toy and he wants to compete. And if that friend says he's had a bad day, then my son's got to say how his day was even worse. Like we just kind of compete. So I don't think it makes a ton of sense doing it externally, but at least I get it with other people. What I don't get is when we do it to ourselves. Like, and I've done this, by the way, so I'm not like sitting on Mount Pius judging y'all. I don't understand why I do it either. And yet I do. And here we are. Where maybe one or two or three little things goes wrong, or maybe a big thing goes wrong and one or two small things. And we tend to feel good in a really sick way of like, let me like tell the world. And when the world tries to help, like argue with them, like, no, I have to win this battle of everything sucks and it's completely irrevocable and nothing's ever going to be good again. And we fight like hell to win that. And you can only win or lose. And if you're going to lose anyway, why fight it? And if you're going to win, then I guess just resign yourself to a terrible life. Like that, it's, like hard to win that fight, no matter the outcome. It's kind of like going to court, right? No matter who wins. Well, we both spent $100 grand on attorney's fee to fight over 10 grand. Like, well, I don't care what the judge said. You both lost. That's just how it is. So the reason we get into gratitude is when we're in that no train of everything sucks, it's all going to suck, nothing will fix, and we just blah, 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 blah. The solution can literally be right in front of our face and we will not be able to see it. So to get all of us into a creative space to solve problems. And by the way, be a leader. Your people look at you when you're constantly in this, everything sucks, nothing's going to work. God forbid you win that argument with your people and they all think, because they're just going to quit. Why would anyone want to be on that team? So I just want to encourage guys and gals, there is as much as it's just woo-woo, feel good mindset stuff, there's real life value, if not requirement to, I don't know, I'm sure there's some out there. I've never met a business owner that was super negative and didn't have a lot of gratitude. Sir, I've never met a happy human that didn't have gratitude, never mind successful. All right, long rant. I would love, my bride's here because she has a completely different perspective on just about everything, mostly better than mine. She just doesn't like being on. That's why you're stuck with me. So I would love to hear any and all thoughts you have on that bride of my life.
From my perspective, it's a little bit more of like an emotional thing. I feel like when people get on that no train, there's a release of responsibility. Like, life happens to me. All of this happened to me. I'm not responsible for this circumstance in my life. And so in one way, they're taking the burden off of them, the onus off of them, saying, I've created this circumstance by whatever I've done. I've allowed bad people into my life. I've allowed bad employees into my company. I've made bad decisions with how I run it. And that's not, that's no longer their problem. Like bad things happen to me. I'm just unlucky, or it's the economy, or people just don't want to work. And so there's this offletting of this responsibility. And I think that feels good because they don't want that, like, oh, I did this to myself. But I think the more powerful, and it's a helpless place to be in, because if life just happens to you, there's nothing you can do. You're a victim of circumstance, and that's incredibly vulnerable and powerless. But when you start accepting the fact that you control everything in your life and saying, okay, I hired bad people, I made bad decisions, all of this is because of the things that I've done, that's incredibly powerful. And it's scary because you're taking ownership of it. But that power and the ability to be able to control and dictate how your life goes. Like, I think you and I were discussing a little while ago about how, I think I was actually watching a podcast that you were doing, and you were talking about, okay, well, I've done all of these things and I've gotten X result, but if I change all of these things, I get Y result. And I think if you can just own that and say, all right, I did something that didn't work and it was a mistake, and I can move on and I can actually own this and do it, there's a lot of power in that. And I think being grateful for that ability is also really powerful. Like, bad things happened, I made some mistakes, that sucks, moving on. I have the power to change it. And now I'm going to make something truly amazing. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to be grateful for this opportunity, grateful that I'm the master of my life and my business. And I think that that's extremely powerful. And I've seen that in a lot of entrepreneurs that are very successful, that they're just able to, like, okay, I made a mistake. Great. Moving on. Let's do this right. And let's really change this. And I think that gratitude and that ownership kind of work together to get some really good results.
Well said. And as you were saying that, it kind of spurred a thought in me that just from a larger, if you zoom out a bit, really, as owners of cleaning companies, owners of any company, we're really just entrepreneurs, which is kind of the most capitalistic thing in the world, right? I'm going to take the chaos of the world and I'm going to create some sort of order out of it. And I'm going to get some sort of give value to the world from that order. And I'm going to get some sort of financial compensation for that. Great. The opposite of that is communism, right? Like, the government's in charge of everything. If I will have the toilet paper they say I can have at the price they say I can have, and it's just a complete opposite. And I'm guessing there is that warm fuzzy of, maybe I don't get meat and I only get bread, but there's enough bread most days.
Right.
And yeah, I can see where there's a draw to that. But just so you know, as an entrepreneur, you're the opposite, right? Like, I don't even get into a judgment of right or wrong. I'm just saying, if you want that blame or somebody else's fault or whatever, work for the government, where it's like, you really don't have to be, no offense, government. I'm American. I love our country, but there's some things about the government that, you know, aren't ideal. But the government's a lot of, you don't have to be great. You don't have to be good. Just, you really can't be fired. You know, as long as you don't kill anyone, just show up, shut up, and take your paycheck. It's not gonna be a great paycheck, but you get a bunch of benefits and we take care of you. And that's fine. I mean, God bless our school teachers, a lot of government workers that, you know, not the DMV people, not God bless them, but, you know, some of the firefighters, all that sort of stuff. So please don't hear me knocking that. I'm just saying, if that's what you want, an entrepreneurship's not for you. Entrepreneurship's got to be, even though the government's going to tax me unfairly, or I'm going to get prejudiced against because I'm a female or black or white or tall or young or old or whatever we believe. I was born poor. We all have our things that we're like, that aren't fair. And they're not, right? It's, you know, there is no such thing as, Natalie's better looking than I am. When she meets people, they're much more interested in talking to her than I am. That's not fair. Well, here we go. I could complain about that and curl up and die, or I could go, well, okay, based on that, I do have something to offer. And what can I do to overcome it? So as an entrepreneur, it's really important that thankfulness for the skills that we have, and that thankfulness goes to powerful, is what I heard Natalie saying. When you delegate and abdicate, just be like, everything sucks. It's all outside of my control. That feels warm and fuzzy because we'll just eat our government cheese and shut up. But if you ever want anything more than government cheese, you got to own some of that crap. Yeah. So go ahead. Did you have something to say, Nat?
No, I'm just, you codified it better than I could, like usual.
Hey, if I got my wife agreeing with me in front of an audience recorded, I got to shut up and let that, put that front and center. I don't want to interrupt that.
You know, it's the holiday season. I got to give you something.
Okay. So next piece I wanted to hit is, I want to be crystal clear, because young Mike might have heard a podcast like this and been like, you can't just pretend your problems aren't there. And, you know, you can't just do this woo-woo Thanksgiving crap. And young Mike was correct, but not complete. So the truth is, yes, the power of positive thinking alone is not going to make you a millionaire or make your cleaning company successful. That said, worrying about and hyper-focusing on the problems without the solutions is definitely going to make you further away. So it is a combination of gratitude, which really is important. Like I said, we do it every single call, every single time we coach someone, there's some sort of celebration of gratitude. It's that important. So what I'm trying to say is, you can swing one way or another of just tell me what to do and how to do it. It doesn't matter if I'm grateful or angry or whatever. Just tell me what to do and how to do it. That does not work. There's the other one, which is, doesn't matter what I do, as long as I have a power of positive thinking and I'm never going to get up and I'll just work harder and be better than ever and everything's going to work out great. I can assure you that doesn't work. So we need to kind of have a thankful first. So we always start with celebration, right? It's really hard to get into that no train of everything sucks, you suck, I suck, everything sucks. When we have some gratitude, like even when Natalie and I fight and I get very frustrated with her, I never feel like I made a terrible decision. She's a terrible human. I'm wildly frustrated with whatever's going on. I don't want to underplay that, but I'm always so grateful that she's my wife. And if I have to be pissed at somebody and be fighting with somebody and just want to strangle somebody, I'd rather be her than anybody. She probably feels differently, but
okay. So just no, you don't strangle me.
Well, hey, the fact that you're here and happy and healthy shows pretty good. I've 100% no strangling so far. You know, the day is young, but as of now, my record is perfect. So all that to say, gratitude is huge. I think I was reading a tweet the other day and someone was talking about they can predict divorce up to like 91% accuracy, and contempt is the number one thing. So it's not just anger. Now it gets frustrated with me, I get frustrated with her, but I don't feel like I ever have contempt towards her where I'm just like, I just hate her. And I'm just so, and I can see how that's just such a caustic thing. And I remember thinking gratitude or thankfulness is the antidote or the anti-contempt. So in relationships, whether it's business or personal, when you're grateful for somebody, it puts up guardrails. No matter how frustrated I get with Natalie, I'm not gonna do anything crazy because I'm still wildly grateful for her. So that said, if we have an argument, I still have to take responsibility for my actions, or if she does something that is out of bounds, she might have to take responsibility. But if we wrap that in gratefulness or gratitude, we can get creative. We understand we always end our fights the same way. Well, I'm not leaving you, so I guess we can just be miserable till one of us dies, or we can sort this out. And if we're going to sort it out in a week, why not just sort it out today? So that comes from gratitude, right? If there's contempt, I'm like, F this, I don't care. I'll just be miserable forever. And God bless me. I can win and be miserable forever and take my wife and son down with me. Or we can just go, I'm so grateful to this person. And by the way, we think it's going to feel like acid on our tongue saying we're sorry, and it does for a second. But then when you get to that gratefulness, it feels so much better than that sick government cheese. Everyone's wrong. I want to be miserable. So The answer is not to just sit and do nothing and not to just say mindset doesn't matter, but it's to start from a place of gratitude. That's going to get you into a place of creativity and thoughtfulness. Then we're going to look at the problem dispassionately, not, oh my God, this guy is calling. I had $20,000 in recurring revenue last month. I had one client worth $10,000. He quit. He's no longer here. I would like to make $20,000 again. That's going to have some financial ramifications. What steps do I need to take to follow them? You see how that's completely different. I lost half my business. Everybody's quit. My employees are going to be, my wife's going to, I can go indefinitely on how my life is ruined, or I can just go, here's the facts. Here's some ramifications. Here's the plan. And then guess what? I get right to work on the plan, and I don't think about or worry about it again and the plan might be do A, B, and C, check in again in a week. In a week, I can stress out if I need to, but until then, just work the plan. I've already stressed about it. Like, there's no need to focus on it. You can't ignore it, but you're going to look at it, pull it out in the light, feel the feels, right? If I need to go through 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of, oh, this is miserable and I hate it, that's fine. I'm not saying you can never feel that. It's just when you let it last hours or days or weeks, it's impossible to fix. So feel it, sit down, lay down, let the pain, the suffering, the anger, the frustration wash over you, feel it, throw a tantrum, and then move on with your life. Natalie, you look like you had something to say and I spoke over you.
Just one thing, going back to, how we decide, like, okay, we can let this bother us for days or weeks or months or whatever, and then choosing to just be like, or we could just skip ahead. That wasn't easy at first. So I don't want people to think like, oh, this is super hard, I can't do this, never mind. Like, it was hard at first. It did taste like acid on our tongues. But once we reinforced that we were able to get over that and start having a good day and kind of like figure out solutions, once we kind of reinforce that, oh, once I get over this, I'm going to be so much happier, it became much easier. So it may be really hard at first, especially if your natural inclination is to just go into sky is falling mode. But if you just keep doing it and keep reinforcing that positive outcome at the end, it does become easier. And then it becomes second nature in it. So I don't want to be like, oh, it'll just be like this quick fix. It's not. But if you can master that, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, the good side is it does take work at the beginning because you're used to acting one way and you have to force yourself. And now the good news is once you've got that new habit established, it does work for you. It's not a fight you're going to fight forever. So
Right.
Like for me, when it comes to eating healthy, my body lies to me so much. Like it'll be like, make me feel miserable and like, you need food and you need this or whatever. And I feel like I'm going to feel that way forever. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to feel this way forever, I'll just eat the crap. But it's not true. I'll feel that way for maybe 20 minutes a day and then maybe a half hour, depending on how much I focus on, how much energy. And then I get off of it. And then the funny thing is once I deprive myself of that for enough, my body stops fighting for a half hour and it might only be a couple minutes. So, and then you get in that habit. So the good news is with this, gratitude is a habit, anger is a habit, no train's a habit, helplessness is a habit, powerful, I got this is a habit. So yeah, be okay with when your body tells you this is too hard. You're never going to work. Every single time you're going to have to fight this and you're going to fight this fight till the day you die. That's not the truth. I don't know why our bodies do that to us, but it lies. The truth is you're going to have to fight this fight for a couple of weeks. And once you get it, and maybe a couple of months, depending on how many, it'll just get less and less frequent. It becomes easier and easier. All right. So before we call it, I wanted to give you guys a quick crash course, just a couple things. So every now and again, we'll get someone come to one of our calls with, I don't have any celebration. I don't have anything to celebrate. Or they'll do a week celebration of like, well, even though I lost all my clients and my life sucks, I guess I didn't lose all I didn't keep, they kind of disguise, they're so committed to showing how their life is terrible. There's nothing to celebrate. They try to wrap up, like me going, Natalie, that hair would look really nice on a different woman, like, thank you. We kind of do a halfway compliment or halfway, we a compliment or a like celebration that's wrapped in why everything sucks. Right. Everything's terrible. My life sucks, but I haven't given up. That's my celebration. It's like, that's not a celebration. Cut it out. So let me just give you a couple. Natalie, jump in if you feel any. We are all, every single one of us, far richer. I don't care where you are. If you're listening to this, that means you have some sort of electronic device, even access to one. Even if it's not yours, you're at the library, for God's sakes. You are far richer than any person, the richest person, the king of the world, the richest person on the face of the earth 100 years ago. You are far richer than he or she. He or she probably couldn't control his temperature. He definitely couldn't get across across the continent in 3 hours. He might die from something that a painful, excruciating death that you can get solved for a $10 pill or a shot or something like that. If you want a mango, you can have it. That guy's like, it's not in season. It's across the world. By the time it gets here, it'll be rotten. It's not possible. So you are, no matter where you're at, you are richer than anyone walking the earth 100 years ago. I can make a big guess that no matter where you're at, revenue wise, profit wise, probably more than half the population would cut off on a limb to have your life. If you have food in your refrigerator, if you're wearing clothes that are appropriate for the weather, and you've got another set or two in your closet, if you have a laptop computer, if you have $200-300 in your bank account, I believe you're richer than about half the world. And that's just saying you can hear this podcast, you can see, you can walk, no matter where you're at, whatever, even if you did lose half your things, everything's gonna be terrible. You are probably half the world or more would kill to have your spot. To be more specific, for those of you listening in America, Canada, most of our audiences, you have a free market. You can go out and build something and own it, right? This isn't communist where if you build a business, the government owns it. For those of you that have cleaning companies, which is going to be most of you, we are in a very sexy business model. People miss it. They don't, because it's so boring, right? We don't have, like, I used to have a car dealership. I thought it'd be so sexy. Holy crap, this is so much sexier. Recurring business is awesome. The fact that it's not sexy doesn't make it super competitive. This is a great business to be in. Last thing I want to say, because we are recording this the day before Thanksgiving, we're in our Prescott house. We're about to go down to Phoenix and see Natalie's mom and her brother, and Christian's going to meet his little cousins that he hasn't got to see in a long time. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I've got to remember, because some of us entrepreneurs, not my bride, Natalie, not all of you, but some of you out there are going, freaking Thanksgiving, we take Thursday off and then Friday's off, and I've got all these business things I'm going, they all got to wait and everything sucks and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. Or we could go, the whole reason we do this is so we can have that family time. So don't get confused and miss the family time because you're worried about what's not happening in business. Realize the business is there to create these family moments with each other. And again, I'm going to end the way I started. I would far rather be in Natalie's mom's. We have two houses that are both nicer than Natalie's mom's house. Sorry, Natalie's mom, we love you. That house at Thanksgiving with her cooking and everyone there is going to be far more luxurious or fancy or better or more enjoyable than anything else in the world. So just want you guys, gals, to remember, if you're going to be with people that you love and you're all healthy, promise you, I still have memories of Natalie's dad's past, but I still have very vivid memories of us being together with her dad. And I'm sure at that time, there was something going on in my business that I thought was super important. I couldn't tell you what it is at all, but those memories I'll have. And I'm hoping this will be one of those memories, because COVID, blah, 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 we haven't got to see some of the family for a while. I'm pretty sure this memory is going to be forever. And whatever uptight thing I've got not even seem small. I won't even be able to remember in a week or two, or certainly next Thanksgiving. So that's my 2 cents. Natalie, finish us off. Questions, thoughts, anything spectacular to say?
No, I think you really hit the nail on the head. Being grateful for what we have is kind of how you win in life. If you are grateful and content with what you have in this moment, and you can focus with gratitude on the things in the future, you've won. If you're constantly lamenting what you don't have and what you should have and what hasn't worked, you're never going to be happy. Doesn't matter how successful you become, because your mindset is in the wrong place. And putting that focus on what we have, that we have a roof over our head, we have food in our refrigerator, we have family that we love and we get to visit, and we have freedom, is absolutely amazing and the greatest gift. And I'm really grateful that we're able to do that and spend that time with my family, and that you are passionate about our business, but you can modulate it and be present with us. That's such a gift.
Let me prove that to you guys. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Cleaning Nation and family and team. I'm so blessed. The fact that we get to do this and get paid and have this beautiful life to serve everyone is just ridiculous. So thank you. That said, you said it so powerfully, Natalie. We all think I've done this for a long time, and I've been this for a long time. When I had a business doing $500,000, I want to be at $1 million. When I was doing $1 million, I want to be at $2 million. When I was making $500,000 in profit, you want to make $1 million. You make $1 million, you want to make $2 million. Every client I've had. The crazy kooky thing about that is when you go from $250,000 to $500,000, that's your goal. You're like, wow, you've got this embedded. When I get to $500,000, then I'll be happy. And then you get to $500,000 and you don't even recognize it. You don't even notice it. You're just like, I got to be at $1 million. The crazy thing is, we don't even want $1 million business. We want this life that we perceive having with $1 million business. we've had a couple of times in our life where that's happened, where I remember we were in a smaller house together and we moved into a bigger house and we owned it. And I got to say, for me, couple weeks, I was like, every morning I woke up like, this is amazing. And then for the first couple of months, I'd have moments of gratitude. And even the whole years of that, I'd have gratitude. But after a bit, it was just the house I lived in. And as much as we still love that house, it's a great house, but we don't own anymore. We sold it, bought another house, and that house is that. And I remember thinking, I do the same thing with travel. Like we picture travel, and I've traveled and been in beautiful places, beautiful hotels, and love it. But then I'm like, I still feel the same way. I thought I'd feel this magic Hawaii feel, but I still feel like the same dude that was in Arizona. I'm just in Hawaii now. And not to say that there's no value to it, but we really don't want the business, the profit, the house, the trip. We want to feel the way that we think we're going to feel when we get there. And sometimes we get some of it, and sometimes we get none of it. I don't know that I've ever felt like I was in that house. I'm like, now my life is complete. I definitely felt fulfilled and satisfied. I don't even know about fulfilled, but satisfied. I definitely felt some satisfaction, some happiness, but complete fulfillment wasn't it. For me, that's more of a spiritual thing. But the point being, two-pronged fork. One, we think wherever we're at, someone is below us going, oh my gosh, if we got there, then we'd be happy. And we're like, if only they knew. And we're like, but then we dumbly go, that's crazy. I'm here and I don't feel that way. But if I got to where that guy's at, then I'll feel that way. And then that guy's at that going, no, you won't. So the magic trick to all of this is you can feel the way you want to feel right now. I tell Natalie all the time, I think this is the best time of my life, our life. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. I don't know if I'll ever be this happy again. I don't ever want to look back when I'm older and go, man, I was living the best life and I didn't even recognize it. So I just want to encourage you. And you might go, well, you're this or you're that, and I don't have that. Therefore, I could have had that, and I did to some degree when I was younger, and I can have it when I'm older. So you want to feel the way you feel, take it now. Be grateful. You can feel amazing right now. Clean Nation, I want to tell you, we don't do any advertising on the show. We get offered all the time. We don't take it. We don't sell anything on the show. The only thing I can ask is if you are getting value, share the value. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify. Natalie's giving you the heart. It really does make me feel fantastic. We spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for these 900 episodes and all the time. We love doing it for you guys. All we ask in return, give us a review, not just for us, but if you got value, share it with somebody else that needs some help. Like I said, Clean Nation, we are so grateful for you. It's an honor. Reach out and say hi to us on the socials. Throw us a good review so we can say hello. Appreciate y'all. See you soon.
Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me, but like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. That's 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.